HIMS.
All right, everybody. So once again, my name is Thomas and I'm with HIMS, and I am accompanied by my colleague Earl. Earl, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey everybody. I'm Earl. I'm National Account Manager for HIMS Incorporated, and I am so happy to be here with you today.
Excellent. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. So you're at the introduction for BrailleSense 6 Mini. I'm going to talk about the agenda real quick so everybody knows what to expect. So today we're going to be covering a hardware overview. We have some specifications that we're going to be covering, basic navigation, basic help. We're going to talk about some of the existing apps that come with the BrailleSense 6 line of note takers. We're going to talk about some of the upcoming apps that are currently in beta testing. We're going to talk about some new firmware features, peripherals, and then we got some fun stuff there towards the end. We'll go ahead and leave that for a little bit of a surprise later on. So what we are going to do is let's do a little bit of housekeeping rules. Before we go on, because we have some people that are new to the BrailleSense 6 line of note takers, we are going to cover a lot of the very basics today, and along with some of the other stuff. So if you've heard of some of this already, we're glad that you're here with us, but we do want to cover some of the basics for some of those people that have not been with us before. All right. So let's talk about house rules real quick. So we're going to go ahead and take questions and answers at the end of this session. So if you want to go ahead and hold off on those questions until the very end, that's when we're going to go ahead and address all of those. And so we're going to have people be able to type in the chat in the Q&A section, raise your hand, and hopefully answer those questions. So we have about 1 hour for the presentation and about 1 hour for the Q&A session. This webinar will not exceed 2 hours long. We might get done a little bit earlier, depending on how long Q&A lasts, but it will end at, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I have right in front of me the BrailleSense 6. I'm going to go ahead and lock this real quick. And for those of you who are sighted, I'm going to be holding this up to my screen. It should look okay on my computer. All right, so first things first, we're going to start with the top panel of the device. So if you've ever had the BrailleSense Polaris Mini, this is going to be very familiar to you. On this top panel, starting at the top, you're going to have your Perkins keyboard. You got 8 keys. Then moving down from top towards the center of the device, we have a series of keys, and starting from left to right, the left key is function 1 or F1. Moving to the right is F2. Up next, you have Control, and then Space, and then Alt, and then function key F3, and then F4. Now the buttons, the function keys, the F buttons, they're distinguishable from the rest of the keys. They're long ovals, and they sit really flush to the top of the case. The Control and Alt and Space keys are distinguishable by their shape, and they sit higher, just like the Perkins keys. Below the function keys and the space bar, we have 20 braille cells with cursor routing keys immediately above. One of the nice things about BrailleSense 6 Mini, and all of the BrailleSense note takers for that matter, is that for every 5th braille cell, we put a little dot on the cursor routing key so that you're able to identify specific braille cells. It's a really nice touch. To the left and right of the braille cells, we have our panning keys or scroll keys, or some people call them arrow keys. And like I said, there's an up and a down on both sides, on both the left and the right of the braille cells. And that really covers it for the top panel, with just one exception, but I'm going to talk about that when I get to the right panel. Up next, we're going to talk about the front panel. So if you have the BrailleSense 6 Mini sitting on a desk and you were to push your thumbs up against the edge, that's the front panel. And here we're going to have the traditional keys. If you've ever felt a BrailleSense note taker before, this is going to be very familiar. Starting on the far left, we have a 3-position switch, and this includes lock, audio, and unlock. And what these do is they lock all of the keys on your device. So lock means none of the keys are going to work. Audio means that just the media keys here on the front are going to work. Unlock means all the keys are going to work. Moving to the right, there is another 3-position switch, and this controls what the media keys actually do. So we have an app mode in the far left position. Then in the center position, we have Daisy, and then we have MP3. And like I said, those control the media keys. Moving on to the media keys, we have 5 separate keys, and I'm going to go from left to right. From far left, we have rewind. Then we have record. In the middle, we have play. I'm sorry. Yeah, we have record. In the middle, we have stop. Moving to the right again, we have play, pause. And then finally, all the way at the very end, we have fast forward. And the ending on the front panel all the way to the far right is your power button. Quick press to cycle sleep on and off. Press and hold to power down. Moving to the right panel, we have 2 USB Type-C ports. And that is all that is on this right panel. If you feel with your finger, the 2 USB-C ports are undistinguishable from each other, except for if you feel on the top panel, right now we have one labeled with the letter P, and that is for power or PC. So this is where you're going to charge your device, and this is also where you're going to connect your device to your computer if you're going to want to use it in terminal mode. On the back of the Braille device, the back panel, there is absolutely nothing. Moving to the left panel, starting at the very back of the device, we have, I believe it's, I always mix these up. I believe it's headphone is the furthest towards the back. Is that right, Earl? You can go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it goes headphone and then microphone. So these are both.
It's the headphones is closest to you.
Okay, that's right. So microphone is furthest to the back. Headphones is closest to the front, and these are both 3.5 millimeter. And then moving towards the front, you have physical volume buttons, so volume up and volume down. Then moving to the very back panel, we have your user replaceable battery. We have a camera, a 13 megapixel camera with an LED flash. And this is also where you're going to find your serial number, both in print and in Braille. So that's the basic physical overview of this device. Now let's go ahead and talk about some of the specifications that come with it. So as mentioned before, this is a BrailleSense 6 Mini. When we make a mini note taker, we don't just reduce the number of Braille cells, we actually bring down the entire size, weight, and everything, because for these devices, they're designed to be portable and to be used with you wherever you go, right? So it is a 20-cell Braille display. It's not 18, it's 20 cells. And the operating system is Android 10. And we are going to be offering an upgrade on that operating system sometime in the future. We don't have any of the details about that, but that will be happening. We also have 128 gigabytes of storage. We have 6 gigabytes of memory or RAM, and we have an 8-core CPU. So if you're familiar with the 32-cell version of the BrailleSense 6, this is going to sound very familiar because it is the same on the inside. One place that it does differ from the BrailleSense 6 Mini from the 32-cell version is with the SD card. The SD card, if you'll notice, I didn't mention the SD card slot. It's because it is actually in the battery compartment. So you'll have to remove the battery to place the SD card into that SD card slot. So that's one of the big differences. When it comes to the battery, it is a 3,400 milliamp hour battery. And so it's got some pretty long lasting battery. You're going to be able to use this thing for quite a long time. For Bluetooth, we have gone to Bluetooth 5.1. And if you've never used Bluetooth 5.1, the range is incredibly far. So I live in a 2-story house, and I can connect to a Bluetooth speaker all the way downstairs across the house. And it connects very, very fast. So what that means, if you're going to use this with an iPhone, for example, that Bluetooth connection just happens instantly. We also have obviously Wi-Fi, 2.4 and 5. And then we also include one speaker, one mono speaker, and that's going to be on the bottom of the device. So that's very similar to how the BrailleSense Polaris Mini works. So as I mentioned, it's got portable design. It's got some mainstream speed. Let's see what's some other things in here that we haven't covered. For the width, it's 7.28 inches. The depth is 4.06 inches. The height is 0.91 inches, and it weighs 0.93 pounds without the case.
Wow.
Earl, did I miss anything important?
No, it sounds you've covered it all, I think, as far as the physical attributes of it. I thought that maybe you're going to say, this webinar was going to be, well, the difference between the BrailleSense 6 and the BrailleSense 6 Mini is it's smaller, and does all the same stuff, and it costs less. And are there any questions?
Yeah, so it does cost it does cost less. So yeah, for those of you that are interested in getting a BrailleSense, if you're on a little bit of a tighter budget, the BrailleSense 6 Mini might be a great option for you. So, up next, let's talk about some basic navigation. And Earl, do you want to go ahead and take over and share your screen?
Sure. Oh yes, share the screen. I'm going to go ahead and turn on speech here, and
participants. 51.
I forgot that I had to share the screen.
Button close, press enter. Button more press. Button close, press enter to activate. Button leave meeting. Press button leave meeting. Press enter to button leave meeting.
Where's
Press
share?
button got it. Press enter. This meeting is being recorded. Button. The account on button leave meeting. Press enter to act. Button got it. Press enter to activate. Button participants. Button more. Button hymns and button audio sources. Button meeting info.
Share.
Meeting info. Button switch to gallery view. Press enter. Button start webinar. Press enter. Button start my video. Press enter to activate. Button share.
There
Button
it
press
is.
Enter to button Microsoft.
Enter on that.
To activate.
You guys should know that I'm doing this all from the BrailleSense 6 Mini right now. So I'm logged on to Zoom on the BrailleSense 6 Mini, and I'm going to share
button screen. Press enter
my
to
screen.
Activate. Button cancel. Start now.
And
button cancel. Press enter to activate. Button start now. Press enter to activate Zoom.
Start now. Oh, am I with you, Thomas?
Yep.
And do we have the screen?
Yes, we do.
All right, awesome.
File manager.
So
F.
I know a lot of you participating and going down through the list, and a lot of you have the BrailleSense 632. And as I was jokingly mentioning earlier, it's smaller and it costs less. It does all the same stuff, has all the same power under the hood as the 32 cell model. But the one thing we're going to do for the folks who aren't familiar with how the BrailleSense works is go kind of over the user interface, the way to navigate around on the BrailleSense. Some of you I may bring some things up here that some of you may have forgotten who are your seasoned BrailleSense 6 users or BrailleSense users, because a lot of the commands, a lot of the structure has been carried over from previous iterations of the BrailleSense product. So, for example, those function keys that Thomas mentioned on the top panel, F1, 2, 3, 4, so cleverly named, going back a few iterations of the BrailleSense product, the far left one,
file manager F,
is function 1. It always gets us to the file manager. So if you think back to the Windows 7 days, maybe even now to a degree with Windows 10 and 11, that pressing that Windows key always gets you to the same place. And remember, the BrailleSense started out on Windows CE, so the compact edition of Windows. What's hilarious is that it's carried over onto the Android side as well. So think of it kind of as your menus key. Press F1, always end up on the main menu. And so you hear file manager. So a lot of people just say, oh, it's taking me to the file manager. Nope, that's just the first item in the main menu. I can navigate down using space dot 4.
Word processor.
Or I can just space through here. I've got word processor,
Notepad.
notepad. Thomas will be talking a little bit about the differences between those in a little while.
Email. E.
Email. Again, I'm just pressing space to go down through the list.
Media. M.
Media,
Books.
books,
K.
and press backspace, which is the same as .7 on the far left,
Media. M.
to move back up
Email.
through the
E.
list. So we hear as we're moving down through the list,
Media. M.
media M,
Books. K.
books K,
Organizer. O.
organizers O, etc., that we've got an associated letter with these items in the main menu. So I know that when I go to the main menu with F1,
File manager. F.
I heard Notepad N, and all I have to do is press the letter N.
Top of document.
And you hear how fast that just opened up to the top of the document. And now I can
Capital
simply start
Simply.
typing. Okay.
Typing period.
And if those of you who have got earlier versions of the BrailleSense, for example, the Polaris Mini, one of the most frequently heard complaints that we heard was the really fast Braillists were able to out-type the BrailleSense Polaris, but you would be pretty hard pressed to out-type this device.
.5.
I'm not that fast. This device. And of course, I'm doing this
Device period.
all in contracted Braille. So that's just in the notepad. Now, if I press F1 again,
File manager. F.
remember, it always gets me back to the main menu. Press the letter N. I'm back right where I was, where I left off in my document that I just created. Okay, so let's go back to the main menu again.
File manager. F.
And so we've got two types of, so not really two types of hotkeys. We've got hotkeys and we've got shortcut keys. The hotkeys are the ones that instantly open an application like Notepad, letter N. But then we've got the keys that we call shortcut keys that actually open folders. So in the case of our media player, I press the letter M.
Media player. M.
And I could have navigated down to media and pressed enter, and I would have ended up here on media player. But you see that if I move down through this list, space .4,
FM radio. R.
I've also got FM radio. So I've got other things in this folder.
Podcast. P.
And podcasts. These are things that Thomas is going to be talking about a little
FM
later.
radio.
So I'm gonna bail out of this by pressing what? F1.
File manager. F.
Go back to Notepad. It brings me right back to where I was in the document. Now let's say that I don't want to go back to the main menu. I want to go to the menus within the application that I am in. And this is kind of one of those universal HIMSS things where if you're in a HIMSS application, you can always go into the menu system for that application by pressing not F1, but F2.
File. F. Pull down menu.
And I see all the pull down menus that are within the menu system of the Notepad where I am right now.
E. Pull down menu.
Edits.
Insert. I. Pull down
Insert.
menu. Go
to.
Read. R. Pull down menu.
Read.
Layout. L.
Layout.
File. F. Pull down
And
menu.
we wrap back around to file. So if I go in, let's say that I want to
Edit. E. Pull
go
down
into
menu.
edit, press
Start
enter on that.
selection. B. Enter B menu item.
It says start selection, enter B. Well, that again, we're given a clue that, hey, enter B is the way that we're going to specify the beginning of our selection.
Copy. C. Enter C menu item.
Okay, so if you want to learn about the hotkeys, it's really just a matter of going in here and exploring the menu system.
X. Enter X menu item.
Okay.
Paste. V. Enter V
There's
menu item.
paste, enter V.
Delete. D. Space D menu item. Delete blank lines. L. Backspace. Add to clipboard. P. Clear clipboard. E.
So we can add
Enter
to
D menu item.
clipboard, so we can go from place to place in this document and keep adding
Select all. A.
content to
Enter
the
A menu
clipboard.
item.
Let's say I want to select all of this text. I'll just press enter here. I heard the hotkey was enter A.
Select all.
and it has selected everything in the document. Now let's go ahead and unselect it. Really, it's just a matter of moving up through the
Top of
document.
now.
And I'm going to go ahead and select the beginning here.
Start selection.
And I'll just move a word at a time by pressing space, or space with dot 5.
Capital I. Can. Simply. Start. Typing. You. Would. Be. Pretty.
Okay, let's go
Be.
back.
Would. You. Typing.
And looking on the Braille display, I'm going to go ahead and right after the period, press the routing key above that. And I've made my selection. I'll press Enter C. Remember, it was in the edit menu.
Copied.
It's copied it. And now there's another keystroke that I can do.
Top of document.
Where I actually opened a second document. And that was backspace O. Some of you may not have known that you can have 2 notepad sessions open in the same set, basically 2 different sessions, notepad sessions. I'm going to paste what I copied there. Now I've taken it and I'm going to go back and forth between
task name, Zoom. Task name, File Manager.
File Manager.
Flash to task name, Notepad.
Notepad.
Task name, Notepad 2.
And Notepad 2. Let's go back to the main menu.
File Manager, F.
So a lot of these things, I'm going to switch over to from the user interface here to how to find help wherever you are. Of course, we found out pressing F2 got us into the menus, and we could go and learn what the hotkeys and shortcut keys are from within the menu system. But we also have context-sensitive help, where wherever you are, you can press space with the letter H for that help.
Move to next item, space dot 4 or down scroll button list item.
And it basically just tells you what you can do based on where you are now.
Help closed. File Manager, F.
I'm going to go into Notepad and I'll do space H.
File help, F, menu item.
You see, it's changed. And now I've got options within Notepad for finding out about file help,
edit help,
help.
And you insert help. Go to help.
To help.
Menu item.
There's a P at the end of that. Go to help.
R, menu item.
And then we're gonna
cancel
out of that. My sense of humor gets me in trouble sometimes, you guys.
File Manager, F.
So I'm gonna go and go into the help system right here from the main menu. And by the way, a lot of these different applications have hotkeys that can be launched from anywhere. So if you are in the Notepad and you want to go to do a Google search, all of these are listed in your command summary, which is within the help system. I'm going to press Control Alt W in this case.
Search word edit box.
And it gets me to Google search, where I can automatically go to a Google search. Or if I want to open my word processor, I can press F1 with
task name, word processor,
the letter
File Manager,
W.
Top of document.
Okay, so I'm going to go back out to
File Manager, F.
File Manager. I'm going to go to H. Loading the help documentation here.
Help.docs open. Navigation menu dialog. Welcome to BrailleSense Help. Press space H to get a list of keystrokes for navigation. Introduction 117 list item. And I hear welcome to BrailleSense Help. And I've got 17 items in this list. And this list corresponds to another list. What is the BrailleSense 6 Mini 1.4 list? I just press the tab key or F3 to move over to the corresponding list. So you see, Introduction 117 list item. I can just go ahead and down arrow space .4. Basic functions of the BrailleSense 6 Mini 217. Customizing your note taker 317 list item. File Manager 417 list item. Let's go to the File Manager. I'm going to press Tab to go to the corresponding list. Overview 17 list item. And here's the overview of the File Manager. Working with files and folders 27 list item. Working with files and folders. And I can press Enter on any of these subjects anytime. 4.2 working with files. And now I hear that I am in section 4.2. So if I want, and I want to look up something else really quick. And I know that essentially what I've done is I've come to this area of the documentation. I can actually jump to the top of this document with space with 1, 2, 3 to jump to the top of document. And I see that I'm at the very top user manual of this user manual. Blank. And let's just see, let's say I want to go search for File Manager. I'm going to type space F. Find dialog. And I'm going to type File Manager, press Enter. File Manager, Word. And it says File Manager, Word. Processor.
word processor was the first occurrence. If I want to go to the next occurrence, I can press Enter F.
File manager. If space 4 is.
So there's multiple ways that you can navigate around this help documentation, and it is literally the manual within this online help. So you don't have to go and download the manual unless you want to have something to read on a different device as you're trying to learn the BrailleSense 6 Mini or the BrailleSense 6. It's all right here online. Once you master the ability to navigate around within it, you can do anything. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Thomas.
Thank you very much, Earl. All right, so up next, we're going to be talking about the existing applications. So I'm going to go ahead and try to share my screen here. Give me just a moment. So there we go. All right, so I'm sharing my screen. I'm going to go ahead and unmute my device. Oh, no, I powered it down. All right.
Voice on. File manager F.
All right. So I'm going to quickly go over some of the existing apps for people who are not familiar with the BrailleSense 6. And then if you haven't actually used the BrailleSense 6 in a while and you thought you were familiar with it, considering this is a second look, then you might find some interesting things. So first, I'm going to go into File Manager, actually.
Flash disk 1 4 list item.
And we have something in here called Google Drive.
Google Drive 2 4 list item.
Now, Google Drive, this is not your typical Google Drive. This is actually a Google Drive that we have built specifically for the BrailleSense line of note takers. So this is a proprietary app. And what happens when you go into Google Drive is you're able to access all of your shared file or all of your files in Google Drive directly from your device. And you're going to have all of the great Braille first key commands. So you're going to be able to use first letter navigation. You're going to be able to use common keystrokes to create folders, create new documents, cut, copy, paste. All of that is done directly within Google Drive. In addition, you're able to save documents directly to Google Drive and open up documents directly from Google Drive.
Flash disk 1 4 list item.
I'm going to go ahead and get out of here.
File manager F.
Up next, we have word processor.
Word processor W.
Following that, we have Notepad.
Notepad N.
One of the most common questions that we get is when to use word processor and when to use Notepad. And in general, if you're going to be sharing a document with a sighted colleague and you want some different formatting, you know, italics, bold, underline, if it's going to be printed on an inkjet printer, then you're going to want to be using the word processor. If you're going to be typing up a document that you want to have embossed, or it's going to be just your own notes, then you're going to want to use the Notepad. So that's when you're going to want to use those two. And that's a bit of a simplification, but since we're pressed for time, just understand that those are both there and they're both great options for writing down whatever it is that you need to write down. One other thing is, you know, if you're in a school or a work setting, that word processor is going to support your DOCX file types. So all of the professional file types that you're going to want to use. Up next, we have email.
Email E.
So email application, obviously send, receive emails. Of course, we work with attachments and links. Email is pretty self-explanatory. Next, I'm going to go into the media folder. So I could scroll down, space and .4.
Media M.
I'm going to press enter.
Media player M.
And here we have a media player, and the media player is quite nice. It works extremely well with the media buttons on that front panel, as I had previously described. So it is excellent for playing media. Up next, we have FM radio.
FM radio R.
And then we also have podcasts.
Podcasts P.
Now, the podcast app, what it lets you do is search for your favorite podcast. You're able to actually download and listen to podcasts as well. So it's a really great resource for accessing podcasts. I'm going to press back. I'm going to press backspace.
List.
Oh, go ahead, Earl. you have a question?
No, I'm sorry. It's just
Zoom on list.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
FM radio.
Oh, okay,
R.
no problem. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here.
Media. M.
All right, up next we have books. I'm just going to go ahead and press the letter K.
Daisy player. D.
So in here we have our Daisy player.
Document reader.
We have a
K.
document reader,
Online Daisy. O.
online Daisy,
Bookshare download. B.
and Bookshare. So your Daisy player is exactly as it sounds. It's going to be used to play Daisy files. Up next, we have a document reader, and what that does, it allows you to read files in a read-only format, which is quite nice. So let's say you receive a Word doc, right? A colleague sends you a docx file, and you want to just read it without having the risk of editing it. That document reader is going to allow you to do that. You're also able to do things like bookmark and jump, all that sort of great stuff. Online Daisy is for downloading Daisy files from online stores or online libraries. And then, of course, we have Bookshare download as well. And Bookshare, of course, you have to have an account with that, but we do have access to Bookshare downloads there as well. For those of you that are following along visually, there's also that Bookshare download V2, and Earl's going to cover that one here in a little bit.
Books. K.
Up next, we have Organizer.
Address manager. A.
Inside of the Organizer, we have your address manager, schedule manager, and a database manager. So if you're coming from the U2 days of the BrailleSense line of note takers, you'll be familiar with the database manager. So we've brought that back, and it is available for the BrailleSense 6 and BrailleSense 6 Mini. We also have an address manager and a schedule manager, and those are both there for you. And Earl, can you correct me if I'm wrong? Schedule manager, does that sync with your Google Calendar?
It does on mine, yeah. And
right.
yeah, it does automatically pretty much. If you select that as your default calendar on your phone, it will synchronize with, yeah, that is if you select your Google account on your phone, you can select the Google account on your BrailleSense as well.
Excellent. All right.
Organizer. O.
Getting out of there, we have web tools. I'll press the letter B.
Web browser. B.
We've got web browser, pretty standard, Google search,
Google search. G.
and we also have wiki search.
Wiki search. W.
So Google search, what this does is it allows you to input a Google search term, right? But it does it in a way without any of the extraneous links or advertisements or anything else like that. So you press enter on Google search, you simply type in your search command, and then you get a list of search results that you would normally get from regular Google search, but no ads, no extraneous links, no nothing, just the search results. And when you press enter on those, it opens it up directly in a web browser. And then wiki search is very similar to Google search, except for you could search Wikipedia and I'm blanking, Wikipedia and Wiktionary. That's it, Wiktionary. I didn't know what Wiktionary was, but it's a wiki dictionary. So let's go ahead and get out of there.
Web tools. B.
Let's go to extras next.
Extras. Excel viewer. X.
We have an Excel viewer.
Sense dictionary. D.
We have Sense Dictionary. So with the BrailleSense 6 and BrailleSense 6 Mini, we are offering the Sense Dictionary to users for free. So that is a nice little addition to the BrailleSense 6 and 6 Mini. And then we also have a color reader.
Color reader. C.
And what that does, it takes advantage of the camera that's on the back of the device. So you'll be able to actually pick up what colors things are using that camera.
Extras. X.
I'm going to briefly cover utilities.
Calculator. C.
So inside utilities, we have a calculator.
BrailleSense Math. M.
We have BrailleSense Math, and what this is we leverage Desmos for graphing. So essentially what this is a graphing app where you can input equations and generate graphs. We've got display time and date. We've got a world clock, which is really nice. So if you need to check what time it is somewhere else, that's where that world clock is going to come in nice. We've got a compass heading, wake up alarm, stopwatch. Terminal for screen reader is in here as well. Display network status, display power status. And as Earl had mentioned, I'm going to go down to display network status real quick.
Display display wake up alarm. Stopwatch. Terminal for display network status. N.
All right, so we've got display network status.
Shortcut key N. Hotkey space N.
All right, it said shortcut key N, hotkey space N. So if I ever want to find out if I am actively connected to the Wi-Fi, most of the time I'm just going to press space N because I know that's the global hotkey. And I access this information by pressing space with dots 3 and 6. Display power status.
Display power status B.
I'm going to press space 3-6.
Shortcut key B. Hotkey space dots 1-6.
Global hotkey space dots 1-6. In here, we also have backup, restore flash disk. We have format, which is great if you're going to be selling a device. Sleep timer, macro manager, which is excellent if you have a lot of things that you do that require repetitive steps. You'll be able to record what those steps are and then play them back whenever you want to accomplish something, and it'll actually take those steps for you. And of course, this is where you're going to find an upgrade for the firmware as well. I'm going to Z cord out of here.
Utilities U.
We also have settings in here. I'm going to press S for that.
Set time and date T.
Set time and date, so you can set your time and date, obviously, and connect it, sync it to a server. You've got your setup internet in here, Bluetooth manager, menu manager. This is going to be a lot of device settings. So I'm not going to cover this in too much detail, but this is where you're going to want to go if you want to basically change the settings of your device, or if you're doing the initial setup of your device. I'm going to Z cord out of here.
Settings S.
We've got help, which Earl had mentioned.
Help H.
Play Store.
Play Store P.
All apps.
All apps A.
And information about the BrailleSense.
Information about the BrailleSense I.
So the Play Store is because we are running Android 10 operating system and we have access to the Google Play Store. You're going to be able to download your favorite Android applications from the Google Play Store. All apps is going to be a list of all applications that are not BrailleSense related. So all of these apps that we've shown you are proprietary, that we've built ourselves, with the exception of the Play Store. But in all apps, that's where you're going to find Google Docs or Classroom or whatever your favorite streaming apps are. Those are all going to be in all apps. So those are the existing applications that we currently have, and we're adding to them every day. One great thing about our developers and HIMS as a company is that we work really hard to continue to improve on what it is that we have to offer. And I think that's a perfect segue back to Earl, who's going to talk about some upcoming apps.
Okay, very nice. Sorry about the interruption earlier. I unmuted my microphone and I didn't turn off speech.
Voice on. Task name.
Are you able to hear me now, Thomas?
Yeah, we're good to go.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I unmuted because I had speech off. And I'm going to go ahead and see if I can take back the screen here.
Okay.
Close. Space. Close all. Space entered. Close.
So it appears that we lost Earl. So that's how things tend to go. So I'm going to go ahead and try to take over myself until he gets back. Let me just check a couple things here. All right, we're good to go. So what Earl was going to talk about is some of these upcoming apps that our developers are currently working on. And I briefly glazed over some of it earlier on when I was talking about the existing apps, but we're going to go ahead and dive into this a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and press F1 on my top panel here.
File Manager F.
Takes me to File Manager, and I'm going to go ahead and press Enter in here.
Flash disk 1/4 list item.
Now you'll notice it said flash disk 1/4 list item. That means there are 4 items inside of the File Manager, and this is where some of the newer things are going to lie. So I'm going to scroll down with space and .4.
Google Drive 2/4 list item.
I already mentioned Google Drive. I'm going to do it one more time.
OneDrive 3/4 list item.
Now OneDrive, this is going to be something new to the BrailleSense 6. It was not in the BrailleSense Polaris either. And effectively what we have done with OneDrive is we have made our own BrailleSense OneDrive application. So if you have a OneDrive account, you're going to be able to access all of those files that are inside of there directly from the BrailleSense 6 Mini. And to give you an example of how that works with the BrailleSense 6 Mini accessing those files, I'm actually going to go into my flash disk. I don't have a OneDrive account. I'm going to go into my flash disk and demonstrate how some of this works, because it works the same way. So I'm going to press F to get to flash disk.
Flash disk 1.4 list item.
I'm going to go press enter.
Daisy folder 1.8 list item.
Now in here, I have a limited set of things, but if I wanted to jump to a folder that's called favorite, I could use first letter navigation. I'm just going to go ahead and press F.
Favorite folder 5.8 list item.
And it jumps straight to favorite folder. This is really nice when you want to access your OneDrive account. And if you have a lot of files, a lot of folders in there, you're going to be able to jump around really quickly. Because of the speed and the performance of the BrailleSense 6 Mini, it's really nice. Everything is instant. So you're going to be able to find that file and you're going to be able to open it up directly, directly from that OneDrive. And it seems like we got Earl back. Earl?
Microphone on.
Yeah, I'm here.
Mute my audio. Press.
All right. So I was just talking about OneDrive and about basically how it works, how it syncs with your OneDrive account, and you're able to access all of the files that are in there.
You know, with that, let me just go ahead and
File manager.
demonstrate. I've been looking at the agenda on my QBraille,
File manager button, close picture, and picture
which is
press
connected
enter
to. Oh, actually, I got to share, right?
File manager. Yeah.
I'm kind of scared to share now
File manager,
after what happened last time, but let's
Amazon
see if it
Shop
happens.
Zoom. Button mute my audio. Press enter to act. Button start my video. Press button share. Button press enter.
Share.
Button Microsoft OneDrive. Press enter to activate.
And we're going to go screen
Button screen. Press enter to activate. Cancel start now.
and start
Button
now.
cancel. Press enter to activate. Button start now. Press enter to activate.
Okay, you should have my screen now.
File manager. Yeah.
And
Okay.
one
Yeah.
thing before we go on, so you
Sure.
are using first letter navigation in Zoom, and that's
Correct.
how you're able to do all this, right? So
Yeah.
you had to share your screen, so you hit S and it just jumps straight to screen. You press enter and then it pops up, right?
Yeah, among all the things that start with S in that dialog box, it still is faster than having to tab through everything.
Yeah.
And another thing before we moved on, remember I interrupted you before and I forgot that my speech was on. That's because I'm using a new feature on the 6 and the 6 Mini called Mute My Microphone. And so I'm pressing the F4 with the letter M will mute my microphone.
Microphone on.
And
File manager.
that's a global hotkey. So I was talking to you when I turned my microphone off, and now it's back on again. So that's a global hotkey that can be used anywhere you are, whether you're in Zoom or not. So you don't have to press M to go to the mute button and then press enter on that, and then press U to go to the unmute button and press enter on that. You can just alternatively, from wherever you are, and you could just be taking notes in your notepad or whatever, you could just press F4 with the letter M to mute and unmute your microphone, which is really handy. I'm going to go ahead and go into
File manager. F.
the file manager.
Flash disk 1.4 list. Item.
And I've got the traditional 4 items that was traditional now because we've added
Google Drive 2.4 list. Item.
Google Drive, which you've shown, right?
OneDrive 3.4 list. Item.
OneDrive
Dropbox 4.4
and
list.
Dropbox. So this is big stuff. It has really improved my workflow because I don't have to have all this stuff on my BrailleSense 6 Mini. As long as I've got an internet connection at work or school or at a business,
OneDrive
in the coffee shop, for example, I can go to OneDrive.
My drive folder 1.
And I've got my drive.
Shared with me folder 2.
Things that other people have shared with me in OneDrive. And
shared with me folder 2.
if you've got a Microsoft 365 account, you have a terabyte of space, which is phenomenal.
My drive folder 1.
Automatically. So I'm going to go into my drive.
Attachments folder 112.
I'm going to go into documents.
Desktop folder. Documents. 2011
I have,
to 2017.
I'm literally
Taxes,
browsing my
199 list
folder structure on in the cloud right now.
Him stuff folder.
Him stuff.
APK
I'm
folder
going to go
139 list. Brochures folder 239.
brochures,
business folder.
And
2018.
I'm going to go to that.
Weekly sales report. W9.
Let's see, webinar.
Agenda introduction to the
Here it
BrailleSense
is.
6 Mini docs 5565.
I'm going to press enter on that.
Objects copied.
And what
Weather
it does
building
is it
docs save.
makes a copy of it. Oh, it's asking me if I want to save.
No prompt button.
No, I don't want to
When
save the
loading.
last thing I had
Webinar
open.
agenda introduction to the BrailleSense 6 mini.
And now I have literally just opened this webinar agenda that we're working off of today in my
top of document S webinar
on my BrailleSense 6 mini from within OneDrive. It was not previously on here. It still is not on here. It just opened a copy. It's in memory. I could bail out of here and not bother saving it to my flash drive or anywhere else. But so the same is true if I wanted to copy and paste multiple items. And believe me, I've done literally gigs and gigs of data, uploaded it directly from my BrailleSense 6 mini. It is just a little
webinar
powerhouse.
agenda introduction to
So
the BrailleSense 6 mini.
That is huge stuff. The other nice development that has come along is with regard to computer keyboard input mode. And here I've got a little keyboard that my wife gave me about 8 years ago that she bought. It's an Amazon basic keyboard. I don't know if they make them anymore. It doesn't matter. They all use kind of the same Bluetooth protocol. I just now switched it on.
Week of February 14th.
And I am actually navigating. I'm going to go ahead and press the
file manager F.
The menu key, the Windows key, or whatever they call that key that gets me into the file manager. And I'm literally now navigating using a QWERTY keyboard, using the BrailleSense 6 mini. And it is it is very, very robust support for the QWERTY keyboard. All of course, the HIMS things are true. You can get into the menu for the application that you're in. And as you saw, you got into the main menu, navigated around there. You can type to your heart's content on the QWERTY keyboard. So, hey, if you're just learning how to read Braille, or you're trying to improve your Braille, it's a fantastic way to get that multi-sensory input and output. So you're typing on the keyboard that you're familiar with all your life. Maybe you just went blind recently in the last 6 months or a year, and you're trying to sharpen up your Braille skills so you can type on the QWERTY keyboard and get confirmation on the Braille display and with speech as you type. So what's nice about the keyboard input mode is that I'll go ahead and get back into Notepad here.
File manager
F. Notepad, and I'm going to jump down to the bottom here.
Enter.
And as I'm typing,
new paragraph.
I am now typing on the Braille keyboard.
On the Braille
keyboard.
Keyboard period.
And I'm going to go ahead and switch to the QWERTY keyboard. And we hear
use computer Braille input on.
Use computer Braille input on. So now capital I am
capital I am
on the QWERTY keyboard.
QWERTY.
So you hear what happened? When I was typing on the Braille keyboard, it turned computer input mode off, so I could type in contracted Braille. And then when I started typing on the QWERTY keyboard, it detected it and it turned computer keyboard input mode back on. And so this not only is a way for you to pick and choose what keyboard you use to type on, but if you're using a BrailleSense 6 mini or a BrailleSense 6 that has an LCD display, or maybe you've got something like a Amazon Fire tablet connected to using that as your screen with the BrailleSense 6 mini, or some other device like what's HTTP to with a screen stream to HTTP is an app that you can use on any platform that will show the contents of your BrailleSense 6 mini. But the point is, now we have a face-to-face communications tool for a person who is deafblind to communicate with a hearing-sighted person in real time. What am I missing, Thomas?
So I talked about OneDrive earlier, but I didn't talk about Dropbox. So Dropbox is a new file sharing app that we've built into the file manager as well.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Dropbox has been around for like 15 years or something.
Yeah. But we've added it into the file manager. So if you want to access your Dropbox files the same way that you would in the regular flash disk with all of those Braille first commands, we've done that. So now for file sharing, there's literally no better note taker out there with Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Drive support. And I didn't get a chance to expand upon the new features in Google Drive that are coming up.
Yeah, so let me go back
File manager.
out here to file manager, and
week of February.
I'm going to backspace out one level at a time out of my OneDrive.
Documents folder 412, my drive folder 1,
and
OneDrive 3-4 list.
I'll go to I'm back out to the basically the root level here of the file manager, and I'm going to press G for Google.
Google Drive 2-4 list item. My drive folder 1-3 list item.
Oh, actually, you're not sharing with me on this device. I've got my other demo device here. Hang on a sec. This will just take a second.
File manager, notepad, N.
So you can probably hear that okay, right?
BrailleSense 6 video.
Yeah, we can hear you.
This is a demo, and I'm already actually in Google Drive. So I'm logged into a different account here, and
shared with me folder.
There's shared with me.
Shared Google Drive 2-4 list item.
And there's Google Drive.
OneDrive 3-4 list item.
Let's see.
Google Drive 2-4 list. My drive folder 1-3 shared drives folder.
Shared drive.
Shared with me folder.
So the shared drive is really for those who have like an enterprise account, like a Google Suite account, and you have an administrator who wants to share different folders with different permission levels, that kind of thing. But with shared with me,
shared drives shared with me folder 3-3 list. BrailleSense 6 videos folder 1.
Thomas has shared BrailleSense 6 videos.
BrailleSense 6 videos folder 1 list item.
And that's the only thing I've got in there. So let me go in there.
BrailleSense 6 new features MP4 1.
New features, and it's an MP4 file. I'll press enter on that.
1 BrailleSense 6 new feed 7 BrailleSense 6 new 14.
And it's downloading it.
29 BrailleSense 6 36 BrailleSense 45 BrailleSense 6 53 BrailleSense 6 61 BrailleSense.
we can hear how much the percentage is.
BrailleSense 6 95 100 BrailleSense 6 new features.
It's big. It's like a half-hour video file.
117 list item.
And now it starts playing. So
explore the news.
BrailleSense 6 new features MP4 1.
So again, I didn't download it to my device. Well, I mean, I did. It's just held in memory, but it's not saved to my device. I'm just streaming it over the cloud.
Excellent. And let's see, one other thing. Do you want to talk about Bookshare updates?
Yeah, so
file manager, F.
Going back into that book folder, K is our hotkey to get
Daisy
in there.
Player, D.
And going down
Bookshare download
to the bottom, I just press space 4, 5, 6 to get to the bottom. I see that
Bookshare download V.
I've got Bookshare downloads.
Bookshare download V2.
And
S.
Bookshare download V2. Well, when you get yours, it'll probably just say Bookshare download again. Basically, the version 2 has implemented a new authorization scheme that Bookshare is switching to. It's called OAuth, right? Thomas, and this is going to enable those of you who are on enterprise systems or in school systems where you don't necessarily have an email account that you can associate with your Bookshare because you've got a student account. It's going to allow you to access those student accounts more easily. So that is in the works. Other than that, it works exactly the same. You just go into Bookshare.
Books 1-4 list. Search content. Books 1-4 list.
It happened that fast. I'm already logged in to Bookshare, and I can go and conduct searches for books and things like that. Download them, and then have them download, extracted, and opened into the Hymns Daisy book reader. So you have the option of either listening with speech to the book or just reading it in blissful silent Braille. Let's move on.
File manager, F.
To what else were we going to go over with the BrailleSense 6 Mini, Thomas?
Right, so we've got, we're talking about new features. We can talk about peripherals next.
Yeah, that's you.
All right. It's 11:55 where I'm at, so we're going to go over this. Yeah, we're going to go over this a little bit quickly. But I'm going to talk about peripherals And what I mean by that are devices that you plug in to your BrailleSense 6 Mini. With the upgrade to USB-C on the BrailleSense 6 Mini, we have a lot of different things that we could do with it that are just plug and play. So a great example are USB microphones. So for example, if you have a Yeti microphone or any USB microphone off the shelf that you get from Best Buy or Staples or whatever your favorite electronic store is, go there. You could get a USB microphone, plug it in, and it's going to work for you. Additionally, it also works with USB webcams. So you could get, for example, a Logitech webcam, plug it into the BrailleSense 6 Mini, and use that to share video. And what this does is it sets up a great situation where if you, let's say you wanted to jump on a Zoom call with some family or friends and they want to see you, right? They want to be able to hear you. You plug in the webcam, you plug in a microphone, and you're going to be able to have that Zoom call perfectly. And as proof of that, Earl is using his device right now on Zoom. In addition, for some of the sighted colleagues and teachers, especially, we also work with a USB-C monitor. So as I mentioned, we have two USB-C ports. One is labeled with a P. The other one is for video output and other peripheral devices. When you plug in a USB-C monitor, it actually provides power and video to that USB-C monitor. This is USB-C with DisplayPort. So it's just one monitor. It doesn't have a battery. It doesn't have anything else, just one cable directly to that monitor, and a person will be able to see the screen. You can also connect it to an Android smartphone or tablet to share the screen as well. So let's say you're a teacher in a classroom and you want to see what's going on a BrailleSense 6 or BrailleSense 6 Mini, and you have a Samsung phone or a Samsung tablet. You just plug it in. We have an app. It's called BrailleSense Mirror, if I'm remembering correctly. You just open up the app on your Android device, start it, and then you'll be able to see what's on the BrailleSense through a USB connection. You can also do the same thing on a Fire tablet. So not the Kindles with the Paperwhite, but the ones that are more Android-like. And then also for peripherals, as Earl had mentioned, we do support QWERTY keyboards, which is really nice if you're a teacher or you're a parent of somebody who's using one of these devices, because you can also use a mouse. So for example, if you have a Logitech keyboard and mouse combination, you have a screen right there with you, you're going to be able to use a QWERTY keyboard, a mouse, and you're going to be able to see what's going on. So excellent for setup if you're in a school environment and you've got a student, because you can just use everything that you're familiar with, point and click with the mouse, type it on a QWERTY keyboard, and you get to see what's going on as well. Also with peripherals, we get into audio. And Earl, do you want to talk a little bit about audio?
Yeah, that's a good segue for me, because I am actually, as we record and put on this webinar, using a plug-and-play audio mixer. Am I still sharing the
voice on file manager
screen,
tab.
Thomas?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So I have at Jenny Axler's recommendation purchased an audio mixer. It's just a little 4-channel mixer called the Rockville Rock Mix Pro 4. Now, if you go looking for this, don't be fooled, because I actually bought the wrong one. I bought the Pro 5, which is a 5-channel mixer, which doesn't have the most convenient connectors on it. So this is one, I returned that one. Amazon's great about that. And I picked up the 4, and I am literally running everything through the Rockville mixer right now. And of course, you've got other brand names like Alesis and Mackie and Tascam and things like that. As long as it's plug and play, in other words, as long as you don't have to install a driver it should be supported. And I'm running, of course, my
File Manager.
BrailleSense 6 Mini. I'm on Zoom right now, and I'm running my BrailleSense 6 Mini via a USB-C connection. So I've got a cheap $20 USB-C hub connected to my BrailleSense 6, and into that I've got my Rockville mixer plugged into a USB-A host port, and I am into my Rockville mixer. I'm running a huge ancient condenser microphone that I'm talking to you over right now with an XLR connector. It's an old CAD microphone from like the 90s. And so it's kind of you can do a lot of fun things with this. And as I'm running this Zoom presentation, you just give me an idea how we can tax these resources on the BrailleSense 6 and how it works. I'm going to go ahead and just go
Media player
to the media player, and I'm going to press enter here to open it.
One jam header MP3 stop.
I've got an instrumental that I call Jam Head Earl that opened up, but I'm going to forget about that. And I'm going to actually just start recording on my media player with Enter R.
USB record, Enter R.
It says USB record, Enter R. And then
Recording.
Now I'm recording. And now I'm going to go back to my main menu.
File Manager.
And because I'm capturing all the internal audio from the doesn't matter if I'm using the Rockville mixer as my sound card or the one that's internal to the BrailleSense 6 Mini, I'm going to go to the Programs folder. And the Programs folder is only comes into existence when you install a third party or an add-on application. In this case, I'll press R
Mo Media
to go, and I've got an application called Mo Media. I'll press enter on that.
Open file or record audio.
And it says open file. Now I'm not going to record in Mo Media because they're sharing resources, and that would result in a real mess. As it is, I'm afraid that doing the things that I'm doing might just disconnect me again from this webinar. If that's the case, then it's been nice talking to you. But I'm going to go ahead and open
file name,
a file.
Edit combo box.
Go to my list view.
Albany folder 118 list item.
And let's go to, I have Albany is my blues alter ego is that guy named Albany Taylor.
Selected Albany folder.
And when I do open mic nights, that's who shows up there is Albany Taylor.
File name, edit Albany flash disk 1 list
and we're
item.
going to go
Albany
into the music folder.
MP3 backing tracks folder 11 music folder 12 radio folder 1 list item. Record folder Jam Header MP3 1.
There's an instrumental I wrote called Jam Header Earl.
Jam Header MP3.
Remember, I'm still recording all of
00
this
static box.
in the media player, in the HIMS media player. And I'll just go ahead and start playing. 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to tap along here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. 1, 2. And this is just something I recorded in real time. And I'm going to wait for a place where I can stop it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place my end selection here with a backspace B in Mo Media.
And selection 0. 25.
And I'm going to go to the top of the file with that standard top of file keystroke space 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to put my beginning
Start selection
of selection.
0.
And I'm going to go ahead and just delete
0.
what I just did.
5.
What I just selected.
10.
And this is a big file, so it's taken a little while.
25.
It's called Jam Head Earl because I'm a bit of a jam head and I let songs
30, 0,
last for a long time. But I suspect that it also has to do with the fact that I'm really taxing the resources right now. Let's see what we've got now. Move to the top of the file and play. And you hear that from the top of the file, the beginning, that whole introduction has been taken out. So that's just a little bit about audio editing. I'm going to go ahead and bail out of this.
Mo Media.
Bail out of Mo Media. I'm going to go back
File Manager
to the media player.
Media player M.
And
Record 01 MP3 recording static box.
stop the recording.
Play. Enter P button.
And let's go ahead and play what we just
Loading.
recorded.
Record 01 MP3, play static box.
Play status. Yes.
Current time 14 seconds, total time 3 minutes. Record 01 MP3, play static box.
Yes, we want to play.
Pause. Record 0 playing. Record 01 MP3, play static box.
And I think because we're sharing resources, I have not done this with Zoom running.
Pause. Record 01 MP3, pause static
It
box.
will work when you're not on Zoom. Apparently, I just found that all right in front of all of you guys.
Yeah, so, I think Zoom was stealing your audio.
Yeah. So, but if I were to stop Zoom, I could go and I could hear everything that I just recorded in Mo Media, while I was in Mo Media. So it's just a wild, just the things you can do are just amazing. And we've also got the ability to work, of course, with entertainment apps. Like I was watching Prime Video movies earlier with audio description and access to Pandora's and other mainstream applications like that. But we've well exceeded our hour, haven't we, Thomas?
Yes. So we're about 7 minutes over. I think that's okay.
I think we can open it up to questions now.
So before we move on, let's talk real quick about a couple things. I added this to the agenda last minute, so sorry. What is the price of the BrailleSense 6 Mini in the US?
You're asking me?
Yeah, I was leading you. So the price of it's $45.95.
Question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was. I was leading you into it. So yeah, so for here in the United States, it's $45.95 is the price of the BrailleSense 6 Mini. So if you want to get your hands on one, we are taking pre-orders right now. So that out of the way, we also do have an upgrade program for customers in the United States and in Canada. And that is from the Polaris Mini to the BrailleSense 6 Mini. We currently have a promo price going on right now that will not last very long. So if you want to upgrade your Polaris Mini to a BrailleSense 6 Mini, I highly recommend that you reach out to us. You can give us a call or send us an email. And we will talk to you about that promo price and make sure you qualify. Because we're a little bit short on time, just letting you know that it is there, and to reach out to HIMS to learn more about that. And it is only for US and Canada customers only. So only HIMS Inc. customers at this time. In addition, if you have a refreshable Braille device, it could be an older device, it could be a newer device, it could be a HIMS device, it could be something from Freedom or Humanware. If you have a device that you want to trade in as a refreshable Braille device, contact us and we could give you what that trade-in credit amount is for your specific device. And so of course that will just knock off some of the price for you to make it a little bit more affordable. So if you guys want to pre-order now, or if you want to learn more about the upgrade or learn more about trade-ins, you can go ahead and visit us online. That's hims-inc.com. Website is hims-inc.com, hims-inc.com. If you want to shoot an email, it is sales@hims-inc.com. That's sales@hims-inc.com. Or you could give us a call at 512-837-2000. The number again, 512-837-2000.
All right, you guys.
That's it. So we thank you very much for taking time out of your day and joining us for this webinar. We should be publishing this to our YouTube channel. So go ahead and check for that sometime next week if you want to recap and relive this great experience. Thank you all very much for joining us, We hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you.